This is BBC Radio Leicester.
It's 25 minutes to 7 on a Thursday evening, and with me in the studio now, Giovanni Ciotti, I should say, and Matt Crawshaw. We're talking baseball, which sounds like maybe a subject that you wouldn't expect us to talk about here in Leicester. Matt, you're the chairman, first of all. Let's talk about the club itself here and how the Blue Sox were formed.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, tell us a bit about the history.
Okay. Well, we started as a club in 2006. The club was pretty much the brainchild of one man, Mark Meredith. He had played baseball for another team in the county, Salby Vikings. They disbanded in 2004, and he pretty much sort of decided, well, look, if I'm going to carry on playing baseball in Leicester, I'm going to have to, form a team of my own. And he did that. He did it really well. He got together a good bunch of guys, and it sort of kicked on from there, really.
Okay, well, Giovanni is with us, who's the first team manager and head coach as well. And I have to say, you look like an extra out of The Godfather. You must have Italian ancestry, but you're originally from Colorado, aren't you?
Yes, I moved here from Denver, Colorado at the end of the summer.
Right. Tell us, first of all, why you moved here and how you got involved with the club.
Well, I moved here mostly for family reasons. My daughter was relocating to Melton Mowbray, and it seemed natural for me to become an official Meltonian to remain a part of her life. And
did you even know where Melton Mowbray was?
Thankfully, Google Maps sorted me out before I got on the plane to come over.
Yeah, so you can take a pork pie home to the Rockies now, and
I can get cargo a pork pie and sort them out, help them win some games.
I mentioned the Rockies. That's the name of the baseball team, isn't it? Colorado Rockies.
Oh, it is. Yeah, the Rockies and Rocky Mountains. Yeah.
Did you play at all over there, or coach?
I did play in the States. I didn't play for the Rockies, but spent some time. I played at a fairly high enough level to pick up the game. Played most of my life. Been kind of a sportsman most of my life, and coaching since I can remember. I've always been the oldest of 5 children, and was always kind of mentoring people, bringing them along in whatever sport I was involved in.
It's a religion, isn't it, over there, coast to coast, pretty much. Little league and up, it's just massive. Yeah,
pretty much everybody's looking at the kind of the big stage, the Major League Baseball, and the minor system sort of feeds that, and then you have, the strength of it in the States is that everybody's kind of grown up playing it on some level. And, you just have this, everybody kind of, a lot of people understand the game, but there are people that don't, it's kind of, it's the national pastime, and it's got a strong following.
A lot of people in this country don't understand the game, but then I guess a lot of people in Colorado don't know the rules of cricket.
It's very true, very true.
I have to say, I'm not an aficionado of baseball, but I have seen a couple of games that have been just incredible. The Atlanta Braves in Atlanta, just amazing. The atmosphere, the crowd, the family event that it really is. It is amazing. And Matt, that's hopefully what you're trying to create over here a bit, isn't it, really?
Oh, exactly. I mean, in terms of the actual club, we are looking to develop the club so it becomes sustainable. It's here to stay. In years gone by, that there were clubs that started and folded, and we're pushing to become a very sort of community-orientated club. We're looking at setting up some youth teams this year as well, so we can kind of replicate what they do over in America. And we have kids coming in at the beginning, and we've got that sort of conveyor belt of player staff for years to come.
You've been pretty busy in the off-season as well, haven't you?
Yeah, exactly. We've just started our training at the Leicester County Cricket Indoor School. It was our first night last night. We had a cracking attendance, and we're going to be starting some youth baseball sessions. We've got the youth baseball camp, which is at Beecham College, and that starts on Thursday, the 2nd of February. And we're looking for boys and girls ages 10 to 16. It's an initiative that's been backed by the National Lottery. They've had a good look at what we're trying to do in the community. So if anyone out there wants more information, you can go to our special youth baseball website, which is www.Leicester Blue Sox, Sox is spelled SOX, .co.uk/juniors. You can find all the information there.
And Gio, when do you start playing outdoors again? The weather's not right yet, is it?
Not quite. It's been a nice mild winter. I've heard the horror stories of last winter, And but we're going to be outside in March. Our adult team will practice on Wednesday evenings at Western Park. Our fixtures start. We'll have a Leicester Spring League starting in the end of March, and then our proper fixtures in the British Baseball Federation take place on Sundays from April to September.
Well, this is the first spring league of its kind in the Midlands, I think, isn't it?
Yes, we're kind of an initiative to grow the club and to utilize and kind of unveil our new backstop that the club's worked very hard to get into place at Western Park. We'll be hosting the Leicester Spring League. Will be the first of its kind in this area.
I mean, the amazing thing is, in this country, so many sports struggle because the demands on youngsters, Matt, are just incredible now. A lot of sports don't even get played in school anymore because the timetable is so tight. And yet, you've got people desperate to play baseball.
Exactly right. I mean, we haven't really pushed youth baseball over the last few years. We've just pretty much been trying to sustain the adult program, but then through using things like Facebook and Twitter and engaging with young people that way, they've been contacting us and saying, hey, have you got a youth team? Have you got a junior team? Parents have been contacting us. And it was from that interest we then decided to put together some more sort of substantial, cohesive plans. We're also engaging with some secondary schools in the Leicester area as well, and their response has been tremendous as well. So hopefully it's the start of good structure for youth baseball in this area.
There's quite a lot of crossover between a lot of the American sports in Leicester and Leicestershire as well. I know that you're going to be down at the Leicester Riders on Saturday, for instance, and Rob Paternostro is a bit of a baseball nut, isn't he?
He is, yeah. I mean, he's another one who contacted us out of the blue during his off season. I understand that he goes to America just to play baseball. He's a real baseball nut, and he plays it at quite a good standard. And the only reason why he didn't play it in the UK was he didn't know that we existed. So
have you signed him?
He's kind of sort of said he's very serious in coming across and giving it a go, and probably save him a flight back to the States if he can play for her. So we're looking forward to him coming aboard. We'll have to wait and see how the Riders go for this season.
Gio, what sort of qualities do you look for in any player, whether they be young or older? Depends, where you want to play, I guess. But what sort of skills do you need? Baseball is a real.
It's a bit of a chess match in a way, and you're using your body, and it's not necessarily the most athletic guy that's going to thrive on the baseball field. It's somebody who's thinking, somebody who's reacting quickly. They've sort of trained themselves to make quick reactions. And really, each position on the field really lends itself to certain personalities. So it's really an inclusive game. You can find ways for players of just a little bit of athletic ability to thrive on a baseball field, and you can also there are also places for truly athletic players to thrive as well. So really, anyone can do it. It's a matter of just having some patience. I think poise is probably one of the most underrated qualities that really can help anyone start to understand themselves on a baseball field and be able to play it.
Yeah, is it a game that's growing for both boys and girls as well now, Matt, in the 21st century?
I think what you're finding in and around the sort of British baseball setup, you also have a softball federation, and you tend to find that girls and all female participants tend to lean more towards softball as they do in the States. But we're looking really to use baseball or modified versions of baseball at certain ages as a bit of a entry level for boys and girls, and take them through mastering the basics, getting ready to play competitive games, and hopefully then we can perhaps, if we have girls coming through, maybe they then lean towards softball, we can maybe set up some of our own softball teams of our own as well. So we're pretty open-minded in terms of what we're looking to achieve, and we're all welcoming of all players, really.
Well, I mean, if people want to come and see you at the Riders game on Saturday, then come and have a chat with you and find out more then. But you've got a camp coming up at the beginning of February at Beecham College in Oadby. We'll give all the details, the contact details out a little bit later. But what can anybody expect if they come along to that?
the youth baseball camp, really just, I mean, someone that has never played the game, even if you haven't seen it on telly, and you showed up to something like that, basically, expect to learn the basics of the game, start to learn some of the basic rules, and really just have a good time. Have an enjoyable time being active, learning something new, and it's maybe it's not for everyone, but I'm fairly confident we'll find some people in the Leicestershire area who take a liking to baseball.
Okay, we'll talk some more in a moment, and I'll give you all those details if you want to contact the club. But let's turn our attention to snooker for a moment. With me in the studio, we're talking baseball with the Blue Sox, Matt Crawshaw, the chairman and junior team manager, and Giovanni Ciotti, who's the first team manager and club head coach. Now, you've had, Matt, some, a great deal of success actually in recent years, haven't you, both nationally and locally? And you want to keep that going now, really, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when we started in 2006, we had our first field over in Mount Sorrel. We lost that within about a year, so we were then on the hunt for another diamond. We're now situated at Weston Park. We've been there now 4 years, and within a year or so of being established at Weston Park, we won our first championship, which is the National Baseball Championship. Mm-hmm. Then we won a divisional championship in 2010. And really last season was a little bit more of a transitional period. Mark Meredith, who I spoke about earlier, he retired from the club partway through the season. So the main emphasis really during the off-season was to rebuild the club, appoint a new head coach, and we've been very fortunate to get Giovanni on board. Yeah,
well, since you came over, what was your impression of the quality, the standard of baseball in this country? Because obviously it's difficult to compare it with the quality of the game played back in the States, but were you impressed with the way the game's taken on and the quality of the play over here?
Having some experience in Britain before, I lived in Oxford from 2004 to 2006 and had played for the Oxford Kings in the AAA setup down there, and it was also BBF. So I had a pretty good gauge of what where things were at with British baseball. I was a few years out of it, having moved back to the States, but really, I'm impressed with the organization. I'm impressed with the passion from people, for a sport that's not part of mainstream culture. And to meet a guy like Matt, who's passionate about the sport, passionate about developing it in England, and myself being passionate about community development and studying things like public affairs and political science and wanting to make a difference in communities. I think we've been fortunate to it's been a good synergy that we've found each other and are able to take this club and take what's there. There's a lot of positive energy around the club. They've having lost, one of their leaders and founder. We've been able to, stay organized and build on what was there, and we appear to be heading in a really positive direction.
Well, the Spring League, the Leicester Spring League, which we spoke about in March, you're going to have teams from Nottingham, Sheffield, Hull, and other places. Matt, what's the quality of that going to be like? Is it going to be stiff opposition, a good test for you?
I think so, yes. In the past, the Spring League format has been down in Hertfordshire, and we've participated down there for the last 2 years, and we found it, quite a challenge. We won the Spring League Minors Championship in 2010. In 2011, we were struggling to get a win, basically. So the competition is pretty fierce, and it is very good preparation for the regular season. And we're absolutely delighted to be doing our own thing, here in Leicester, and teams coming to us.
Yeah, I mean, it's great to develop the sport locally as well. In terms of the coaches, though, is it difficult to find coaches in this country as well? Obviously it's tough enough to find players, but coaches as well, because if you're going to have a setup with a number of teams, you need a number of coaches.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. We've worked hard over the last year or two to develop our coaching staff. Again, we've been very fortunate in getting funding from places like Sport England to do that. There is a sports development agency that are known as Baseball Softball UK, and they have experienced coaches that are placed around the regions, and part of their remit is to run coaching courses and to develop coaching staff within. And we've gone from maybe having a couple of coaches at the club now to more than half a dozen. We had a very successful coaches meeting the other week, and we're really ready to deliver a good quality coaching both to the adult membership and our new junior members.
Fantastic. And for any mums and dads who might be listening, Gio, is it an expensive sport for kids? Do they need to buy an awful lot of equipment or not?
I would say it's mid-range. It's not the most expensive sport you can get into, but there are some things you need to get started. Our club's going to have bats, balls. We'll have, we'll be able to supply, parts of the uniform and things to make it less expensive for families to get involved in. Hats and things like that the kids really like. You may have to go out and maybe buy a glove, a baseball glove. But that might be really about it to start. And we have gloves that we provide for the people coming out to our introductory sessions and to the youth baseball camp. So it's a matter. For $3 or $5 or however much we're gonna charge per session, it's a minimal amount. You'll get the chance to try out a new sport and see if you like it. Yeah.
Well, that session I was talking about, the junior camp, is at Beecham College on the 2nd of February. It's a Thursday evening from 7:30 until 9. Again, Matt, people can come along and speak to you and have a chat with you about it at the Riders game on Saturday at the John Sanford Centre as well.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to be down the Leicester Riders game on Saturday. You'll see us, we'll be in our distinctive light blue uniforms, so you see what we look like. We can talk to you about the Leicester Blue Sox. We can talk to you about the adult programme and the youth baseball. We've got some flyers that we'll be handing out at the game. But if you're not able to make it, then you can email us, juniors@leicesterbluesox.co.uk.
And again, Sox is spelled SOX. That's juniors@leicesterbluesox.co.uk. Gio, what are you hoping for this season? What are your goals, your targets? You looking for a title?
The sky's the limit. I see a lot of potential in the guys I've met so far. We've had some experienced players express interest. Rob, some other folks that have moved from out of town, other British players that are around and who are keen on what we're doing and how we're developing our club. So I think that our club and the way we're running things will attract quality people to what we're doing, and anything's possible.
Let me just tell you, we have a former Leicestershire fast bowler sitting through the glass this evening. Now, he's got a reasonable arm. He retired from the game of cricket because he can't run anymore, but he might be a pitcher. I don't know. Would you give him a chance?
I think. I met Dagger's coming in, and he seems like a quality guy. Seems like a good sportsman. I think we'd be willing to give him a chance on our pitching staff.
Right. We'll send him down then for an audition for you and see what you make of him.
Can't wait. Yeah, we'll come back and report on it if we have to do that.
Yeah. Make sure he doesn't bowl overarm though, won't you? That's the thing. Or pitch overarm.
As long as he survives it, that's all that matters.
Listen, guys, thanks for coming in this evening. And again, I'll give you those contact details out just before the end of the programme. I'm going to stay with Americans and American sport in a way, because after a 2-week break, the Riders return to action tomorrow night with a BBL Championship match away to last year's champions, the Mersey Tigers. And then on Saturdays, you heard they entertain the Milton Keynes Lions. Well, I think we've just about got the business done this evening for you. That's it from me. Raya sitting in for Ed after the news at 7. I'll be back tomorrow with all the day's news at 5 and a full weekend sports preview from 6 here on BBC Radio Leicester. Have a great Thursday evening, and don't forget to contact the baseball side here in Leicester, juniors at Leicester Blue Sox. SOX is the spelling, by the way, .co.uk. See you tomorrow. Hiya.
Passion for Leicestershire.
BBC Radio Leicester.